Oh yeah.
Tom, sorry I'm late. Traffic is ridiculous here. My name's John Johnson. Okay. Let's see here. You are here to tell me about the lawsuit against your ex. Now, let's see here. Let's start your story from the beginning, Tom.
I can do that. Well, it's been a few months now, but everything still feels like it just happened a couple days ago. I guess I should start by saying that I love women more than most people do. I love everything about them. The touch, the shape, the smell, the feel, everything. I never met a woman who I wasn't interested in, but there are some special ones that come along once in a while. There was one in particular. I saw her several months ago, and I knew as soon as I saw her that I had to have her. In my mind, I knew this girl had something special about her the first time I saw her. And from that point on, I was obsessed with her. And that's when it started, the first time I saw her. I don't know why I do the things that I do. It's a sickness, but at the same time, it feels so right.
Did she have a boyfriend?
She did. I didn't know that the first time I saw her, but I found out soon enough.
How did you find out who she was?
Well, after seeing her at the diner, she was always reading, and I noticed on the inside cover of one of her books, her name. And for them, it was easy for someone like me to find out everything about her. Someone who practices this regularly. I just, looked her up on her Facebook or MySpace or what have you, and she was on both. And there were all these pictures of her, looking perfect. So one night, after a few weeks, I finally decided to stop observing and start engaging. And I decided to break in and see what the house was like. And as I sat there waiting, I wondered in my head, what I was about to see. I had imagined so many times what our house would be like. I didn't know what it would be like when I finally got there, but I knew that it would be special. And I would feel something once I was there.
Okay.
So one night, when she wasn't home, I snuck around the back of the house and broke in through the door. It was real easy. Just used a knife, jimmied the lock, slid in, smooth as anything. No one was the wiser. So I had to, stay quiet and stay out of sight of anything on my way in. But once I was in the house, I was totally comfortable. But I wasn't in there for very long when she came home, and then I had to hide.
So you have a B&E.
Yes, sir.
As well.
Like we used to do.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Continue.
So I ran downstairs and hid in the closet.
Okay.
And it was tricky because I had to stay quiet and out of sight, and figure out my next move, where I was going to go from there. But I couldn't take my eyes off her at the same time.
Okay. It doesn't sound that bad yet. Okay.
So I was sitting in the closet, trying to stay out of sight, trying to plan my next move, and I couldn't concentrate. And she was just sitting on the couch, turned the TV on, and then she called her boyfriend and started talking to him. And they had a kind of phone sex sort of conversation.
Okay. I need you to speed it up when you both met. I don't need the whole life story, okay?
Okay. Well, so I was downstairs for a little while, and eventually she fell asleep on the couch, and then nothing really happened after that. And then I got out and I went home. And then, a couple weeks later, I was at the diner, thinking maybe I'd see her, just doing my normal routine, sitting there reading, and she came in. She was upset. She was crying, and her makeup was running, everything, and she sat down and she was crying, and then I finally thought, this is my chance. This is my chance to make a move, because the only thing I could think that happened that would upset her would, it seemed like she and her boyfriend had broken up. So I thought maybe I could try to console her. And so I couldn't think of anything to say, though. After all these weeks and weeks, almost months now, of obsessing and planning for the time I would finally talk to her, I froze.
You left?
I left in a hurry. I didn't know what to do,
Really
and it was.
like this girl.
I did. It was just a moment of panic. I built it up in my mind as how it would happen, and when it didn't happen that way, when it couldn't, I booked it out of there. But I left my sunglasses behind, and she grabbed them and came outside and stopped me.
Oh, so she came after you.
She came after me, and she said she'd seen me there for weeks, and she thought even though I had a boyfriend, I always thought you were attractive, and so she wanted to go out. And it turns out she and her boyfriend had broken up, and she was mine. So, we got together, we hooked up that night. I think, not having her boyfriend broken up there and then having someone new in the picture so quick, it worked out, and it was ecstasy.
So, what happened next?
Well, yeah, we hooked up, and it was good for a few weeks because, after all these weeks, I finally had her, and even after I did, though, I had her, she was mine. I came and pleased as I went. Her house, and we still went to the diner sometimes, but even after I still had her and she was mine, I still would watch her. I would still sit outside her house sometimes when she didn't know, and because the real pleasure comes from watching. And things were good for a few weeks, and
Watching, power, all that.
yeah, and then things started to change, and she was pushing it a little further, and she was really
Change, physical changes or
well,
emotional changes?
She became a little more aggressive in all aspects of our relationship, both, emotional and physical. Became more than I wanted, more than I could handle eventually, and she started to really wanting to push a relationship, and it lost the fun that it once was. So one day I decided I just had to get out. I had already started checking out a few new girls, and I was already watching new people, and so I decided it was time to move on, but she wasn't going to have that. So one night there was a confrontation, and it got messy. See, we were just sitting there doing our thing, watching TV, whatever, just taking it easy, and then she started to push the relationship more. And then, that's when I decided it was just time to make a break, and there were certain details involved, but, soon enough we started fighting, started yelling at each other, and then she knocked me out. And after that, well, what happened is kind of blurry, but
Well, I know. It's okay, sir. It's Rob.
Well, she knocked me out, and I was, I wasn't out cold. I was aware during it, and what happened is a little blurry, but the results, as you can see for yourself, results aren't blurry at all.
Well, I know it's been hard, Tom, and I just want to thank you for coming in today and talking with me, and I'm gonna do everything I can for you. How's your life been so far?
Life hasn't been good. I mean, she took away the only thing that I had. My obsession is women, and my particular fixation is staring at them and watching and looking and learning, and I can't do that now without my eyes. My eyes were my life. I mean, the cruelest thing that has come from all this is that I can no longer do the one twisted thing that I got pleasure out of in the first place. My eyes were my life, and that's all I've gotten out of this is I can't do that anymore. And that's the worst punishment of all, and that's why I have to wear these.
Oh yeah!